Thing about my community, it would be the fact that people aren't as involved as they can be. You know, like a lot of people just live in Chicago. They just go to work, they just go to school, they go back home. They don't talk to their neighbors. They don't ask like, oh, what is going on? What can we do to improve our community? Stuff like that. So I think I would change that about my community.
Healthcare, because I've seen way too many people, even some kids like my age or like even some early age adults not having the right amount of health care. So I would say health care and most definitely gun violence.
Violence, just try to, cut out all the violence, create peace. Too much violence, too many kids seeing violence is messing their heads up.
I think just resources, wishing that people still had opportunities and made better and more wise decisions as far as not to break in, not to rob, not to, vandalize.
The division, like I feel like this could trace back to even like the Willie Lynch letter and whatnot, and how there's a division between black people. I honestly feel like we should set that aside. Like I think we need to wake up and realize like who we are. Like it's already enough like hatred thrown against us. Why we gotta hate each other on top of that? That just make life even worse for us. It's too segregated. Yeah. Coming from like we supposed to have been resolved that in the 50s and 60s and whatnot, and we still living in it. That's messed up. Technically, we still have like these like preconceptions and stuff like where everything is supposed to be divided. There's always a sense of like being comfortable or not fear of the unknown. That's what a lot of people talk about. So people try to like not get themselves out there and like integrate themselves and whatnot. So I would really like to address the division.
Like down the street where I live from, it's like a lot of violence down there, and the media like portrays on that, like they show all the bad things about my community, not the good things. Right. I think if it were more good things, the media wouldn't say nothing about it.
I would change a lot of things about the youth and bring more youth programs and to our community, because when you start at the bottom with the violence situation and everything and giving these kids goals, then they become more better adults, So I think I will have to have more stuff for the youth as far as at their schools, bringing back a lot of programs at their schools, music programs, gym every day. We have a health epidemic in our community. A lot of overweight kids.
I would say the violence, the shooting. I had more opportunities because it was just given to me. Here, I have to work for everything, which I really like. It actually shows that I'm capable of stuff I didn't even know I was capable of.
I would try and add, just try to balance it out just in terms of, one thing I could say is the schools, just try to have the schools all on equal levels. And besides that, really just try to get rid of some of the violence that we have. Because a lot of innocent people get killed on a day-to-day basis, and it's just not right.
It's a neutral place. It's just viewed bad. Not as bad like as Inglewood, but it's still a basket case. There will be like some crackheads or some drug dealers on the corner just selling, and also like it was another scenario where this dude was running and then cops was chasing after him. It could that could be better for my community, and so I feel like if I live somewhere up north or something, that it'd probably be like less traumatizing.
The news, they portray us to be like slums, and it's like we're not capable of succeeding. We're the stereotypical black people.
Probably poverty. Like I think everybody goes through something, and people become poor for many different reasons, and by them being poor, that kind of like affects them, like that leads to drugs to make them feel better, or things like that, or self-harm and stuff like that. I think poverty is something I would change, but on my side of town, it's not really, it's organized, it's clean, but like in a lot of areas, it's not. It's like many areas that it's not clean. You see a lot of poverty.
I would definitely change the violence. There's a lot of violence going on in my community. A lot of people getting killed, kids getting shot. I would definitely have them fix abandoned houses, because abandoned houses are one of the biggest things going on in Chicago. You know, you could tear those down and make new things for the community, like children's centers for children to go after school instead of having them on the streets playing outside and everything. They could have somewhere else to go, like parks and everything. You could rebuild stuff and make neighborhoods much. I would change it because, you know, without communities and all these abandoned buildings, it brings down the morale of the community. Like, people will look at your community and be like, oh, that's not a good place for me to go. I wouldn't want my kids over there. I wouldn't want them to live there because all they see is violence, you know. But if you build something like a community center for the kids, then that lets parents say, oh, okay, maybe it is safe over there. They got people over there watching them, you feel me? So that really changes people's view on the community, because they now have a place for children to go instead of being outside just doing whatever.
I would try and bring in more jobs, more education, and I guess somewhat more mentorship for the kids or the individuals who are out here lost and been grown up and raised by the streets, pretty much.
For sure, it would be around the root cause of what causes violence, poverty, child endangerment. It would be focusing on not just the violence, but actually what are the contributors to violence. I would love to see some real conversation and action around really truly supporting the issues that plague the city. So that's something that I would really like to see change, is to actually have authentic conversation around the areas in which we need to improve our city, from violence, poverty, child endangerment, and other areas.
Idea or the thoughts that you get in my community as soon as you hear it. Inglewood, people think of it as a really bad neighborhood, even though it is high in violence and stuff like that. There are a lot of smart students and smart kids and scholars like me, and you wouldn't think much of it, but unless you actually talk to us and meet us.
I would make it safer. Well, it's no secret that gun violence is a huge part.
It'll be poverty, because poverty is, you know, like the root of basically all crimes, sort of like violence and drugs and everything. If you get rid of poverty, you know, get people jobs and everything, they'll most likely find help for the drug issues or whatever, you know, stop using drugs, period. That eliminate that problem. And then with poverty, if you eliminate that, also eliminate violence, because, you know, people usually kill for money or just kill because, you know, they have nothing else to do. But if they can themselves be able to a job, or, you know, they got money in their pocket, then they'll just worry about themselves. Won't really be doing anything else.
Oh, pollution for sure. I don't even want to touch the social injustices that happen and take place, but pollution is one of those major components. I mean, you see littering all the time. Or you sometimes just walk by and you just see litter on the ground, you know? So that would be one of the things that I would change. Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to walk down a messy street, you know? We all want to see a nice community. If everybody kept up with their community, if everybody kept up with their yard and their spaces, and, you know, wanted to keep a clean-looking location, and everybody contributed to each components in different neighborhoods, such as the roads, you know, or even just maintenance, then yeah, the city would look a lot better. Littering is going to take place anywhere in general, but there are some places that are more prevalent because there's less people maintaining them. We all pay taxes, whether we want to or not. We all pay taxes, and honestly, this service should be distributed evenly, and you can definitely see it on poor areas. You find that they tend to have worse conditions, tend to be living underneath worse conditions.
I definitely think it's wrong that people just view Chicago as a bad place, because that's not what it is in its entirety. And I think you could change that by having like more people experience Chicago firsthand, because like I said, if you haven't had an experience with it, you just go with whatever you're being told. So I think for people to be able to change their perspective on what Chicago is, I think we should have more people like visit, come experience, and actually try to learn instead of just coming here to see the sights and not learn anything about the people, the culture.
Segregation. Sometimes I play at basketball parks and some kids can't go past stores and certain streets, and I just feel like it's unnecessary because they're fighting over nothing. They're fighting over land that's not even theirs, and I think it's just a waste of time.
I would say more black businesses should be in our community, and I think more block clubs.
More block clubs.
Yep.
Okay. Why would you put those into the community?
Because people that make more money seem to be more productive citizens, and everything is more better when you got your own business or you just got money. And the block clubs that bring people together.